provide a means of transportation for the movement of goods from and to the ports. They want government, through Nigerian Shippers Council, to address the myriad of problems they contend with as an integral part of the transportation system at the ports. They are barge operators. The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Honorable Emmanuel Jime, received some members of the Barge Operators Association of Nigeria, BOAN, in his office. We have details of what transpired at that meeting. The program you're watching is The Shipper, Nigeria's authoritative public enlightenment television program on maritime activities. My name is Rekia Zikru Yagoyaju. Relax and enjoy the program.
Nigerian Shippers Council, they to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B with a measure within on a need. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem where shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily lane. Papa email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng. Nigerian Shippers Council with a meeting now for the port of Nane.
Welcome back. A quote. We have what it takes to provide quality service at the nation's ports and remain relevant in the business of transporting goods. Acting President of the Barge Operators Association of Nigeria, Bumi Olumekun, gave this assurance when he led members of the association to the head office of Nigerian Shippers Council, where discussions were held with the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Honorable Emmanuel Jime. Abike Idowu, who was at that meeting, compiled this report presented by Lucy Ulugbe.
These are members of the Barge Operators Association of Nigeria, BOAN, led by their acting president, Bumi Olumekun. They were at the office of the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Honorable Emmanuel Jime, to acquaint him with some of the problems affecting their operations at the ports as critical stakeholders of the port transportation value chain. The acting president of the association frowned at the non-uniformity in barge handling charges by terminal operators and imposition of double charges, which he said have had negative impact on their businesses.
An importer approached the terminal that he has, let's say, 20 containers to be loaded out. He will pay for loading on his truck, whether trucks or barge. He will pay first to them. They will collect their charges for loading it. And when he now approach them again that they're going to use the truck, he's going to use the barge, they will still now charge us for that handling charge. The same handling charge they've collected from the importer or from the exporter, they will now still charge us again as a barge operator, which is double charging. We need to tell them that all these things are, and it's very high, as they said, and even it's to the detriment of our economy. Now, what they said is that some terminals said that if you are coming with export, you have to pay 150,000 naira. If you are bringing out as import, there you have to pay 20,000 or 40,000 naira. You can see the bargain. What for? Our export, our product going out, you are now charging us higher than the imports that are coming from another place. So it's very wrong. We need to let them know.
According to him, the association, through its activities, has contributed immensely to tackling the menace of congestion at the ports and gridlock on access roads around the ports.
We invite barging as a form of what we call messiah to the gridlock of Apapa, which we all experienced some years ago. So barging came in, and we started, as I said, 2017 to 2018. As of today, we've moved nothing less than 3 million TEU from both import and export and empties, both in and out of Apapa. And you know what the part of that on the roads.
An executive member of the association, Bola Muse, wants barge operators to be accorded attention they deserve like operators of the other means of transportation at the ports. She appealed to the NSC boss to summon a stakeholders meeting with the terminal operators with a view to addressing these problems and come up with practical solutions to issues inhibiting barge operations in Nigeria.
I would like to say here, thanks to my acting president here, which he has already mentioned, sir, we need your cooperation and we need you to assist us because we still want to have one town hall meeting with the stakeholders, especially the terminal operators, because in terms of the charges that we are facing, because this is what is killing a lot of us here in the sector, we have a lot of the foreigners coming to take us our work and leave us to nothing at the end of the day.
For the association's head of enforcement, Alhaji Nura Wagani, there is an urgent need for a legislation guiding the volume of tonnage trucks allowed to carry on the roads to save our roads from total damage.
About tonnages, sir, I want to also emphasize that now we even have trucks that carries 100 tons. And this is giving our roads a bigger threat because barges in other parts of the world, they were meant to carry loads that are above 40 tons and move them to the hinterland and take them to their nearest destination. But we don't care. From Lagos to Kaduna, we would like to move 20, 40, 80, 60, 100 tons bare roads. And this road is a death trap to our citizens. We need to look into it and pass a law that any consignment above 40 tons shouldn't go by road, so that at least we can also utilize the waterways. It will interest you, sir. I moved 5 from Lagos to Waribia Barge. We're having. When we cry, nobody is coming to our help. We want this thing to go to legislation whereby the National Assembly would put a law that they should look into the first, local content, secondly, moving cargoes above 40 tons via the road. So these are the two things that we are pleading the authorities to look into our plea, sir.
The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Honorable Emmanuel Jime, assured the association of the NSC's commitment to collaborate with relevant stakeholders to resolve the many problems in the industry. He urged the barge operators to be professional, efficient, and automate their processes to reduce human contact as much as possible.
In the role of the Shippers Council as regulator and port economic regulator, our main mandate is to make sure that there's efficiency in service delivery. That is a core function of any regulator. And in this particular case, because we're dealing with an industry that is like the nerve center of the nation's economy, it means that, as we have a very important, mandate of ensuring that, the maritime space, works efficiently for the conduct of business in our shores. Now, part of being efficient, in our understanding, is that the intermodal means of transportation is a key component in the way that services can be delivered in our ports. Of course, by intermodal system means that we're talking railways, we're talking waterways, we're talking roads. The truth of the matter is that it's no rocket science. 90% of cargo evacuation today is by road, till today. Now, that is not a welcome development because the impact that is going to have on the economy is not heartwarming. It's not heartwarming. Because you see, not only are the roads going to suffer, but you're also going to experience, the levels of congestions that we've been worried about. The gridlock that we've been talking about is essentially because there is still more concentration on road delivery. So I think any person who wants to have efficiency in our maritime domain must ensure that these other intermodal means of transportation are developed to their full capacity. And to me, next to road really should be water.
The chief executive of the NSC urged them to take advantage of the ongoing stakeholders registration at the council.
Be constructed to deliver efficient services, which is why it is very, very important for us to be having this meeting. So we recognize you. We recognize your importance. I have to say also that I'm aware that the agency of government that really has direct bearing on your activities is NIWA, because as far as waterways, that is the agency of government that has responsibility. But because we're also interested in the economic activities, especially we're talking about charges, we're talking about cost of doing business, it is the economic regulator that has to step in. So as NIWA provides the technical regulation, clearly the responsibility of ensuring, that the commercial side of your activities is properly regulated is the Shippers Council. So that partnership is key. We all understand that we need to have a partnership with you in that regard.
Deputy Director, Monitoring and Enforcement of the NSC, Mrs. Selin Ifora, who represented the Director, Regulatory Services Department of the NSC, spoke more on the stakeholders' registration.
You all heard what the ES said. I'm equally very happy with what he has advised. Yes, the Vice President, you said that you are experiencing too many hiccups. Yes, there's no doubt about that. I want to believe that that is true, and that you've been unable to break through. But what surprises us, and of course, like the ES has said, it's an eye-opener, because some certain things you have mentioned today, we're not really very aware of it, especially on the issue of port charges. That has made it very difficult for you to break through. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because the water transportation, because of the volume it moves, price is supposed to crash. And then we send most of these trucks off the road. But we see the opposite. That means there's something wrong, and that we have to actually open our eyes to see where these problems are coming. But I want to believe that what you've said about port charge might be one. And like my Oga has said, we'll look into that.
Alhaji Abubakar Mohammed, the Deputy Director, Standard Services Division of the Council, assured members of BOAN that NSC is putting in efforts to address the 50 million naira cash bond requirement for registration.
Nigerian Ports Authority wrote to the Shippers Council on Barge standard operating procedures. And one of the issues that was captured is the issue of bank bond, 50 million. And we responded to them. Here is the response. And we appeal on your behalf on the need for them to consider a downward review, considering the economic reality. And since then, we are yet to have any response from them. But just to tell you that Nigerian Shippers Council is also doing something on your own behalf.
At the end of the meeting, the acting president, BOAN, Bumi Olumekun, and executive member, BOAN, Bola Muse, spoke to the shipper.
We said a lot at the meeting. We have a lot of problems, which it is now the problem is not telling on us. Because if you are not competitive in terms of pricing, in terms of your operations, you cannot get to where you're supposed to get to. The patronage will not be there. Because people have alternative. If it's a business that does not have alternative, you can say, okay, no, you are not going to shift grant. It's going to be fixed. That is the price. That is what I'm going to take, and it's going to be like that. But for this, if, as we said, the 90% of these transportations go by the road. So the other means of convey your goods is not necessary, because they can have alternative which is better, cheaper for them to go.
Watchers of the industry are of the opinion that such interactive forum and discussions among stakeholders and regulatory agencies will bring about viable solutions to the many problems inhibiting smooth operations at the ports.
As a member of BOAN, because we need to make sure that you have to be compliant, you make sure that when you are registered, you belong into the system as a member, and you see a lot of activities that is happening there. You register your badge, you register your company, even the charges that all the terminals is charging, you have the free flow of having it there. Even right now, we are having something like at the jetties, you don't pay cash. You pay through the online banking, through the online system that we just established now.
The shipper has now set its sights on barge pilots and the customers of BOAN. A program in the near future will feature them. Watch this space. For now, let's join Oluwasegun Aloko on tidbits for bits and pieces of other happenings in the maritime sector.
In its quest to improve service delivery for the development of Nigerian economy, the Nigerian Shippers Council's Complaints Unit has embarked on a number of advocacy visits. Head of the unit, Mr. Daniel Orome, led a team that visited Mediterranean Shipping Company, Cosco Shipping Line, and Grimadin Shipping Nigeria Limited. Here are excerpts from the 3 meetings.
The Complaints Unit of the Nigerian Shippers Council was created to handle all stakeholders' complaints in a timely, efficient, professional and amicable manner. We want to show that we have interface between our officers and officers of MSC, so that if there are issues, we know who we address it with, and to ensure that we resolve it without going further for any litigation or whatever. So we are trying to avoid anything that will lead to litigation. I'm sure by understanding ourselves, discussing, we were able to reach an agreement between both parties.
I appreciate the approach that Shippers Council has taken in the last years in, as you say, being fair and open-minded and looking at both sides of the argument in handling cases.
So far, so good. We have kickstart with an advocacy visit. The online complaint handling is on 24/7. Sensitization of the stakeholders across the country, setting up of desk officers in all the 6 geopolitical regions, so that a complainant may not be finding it difficult in lodging their complaints at times so they can easily go. Then educating all across. What I mean by all across, including all the stakeholders. So we have so many programs lying down in place. And then our complaints handbook, which it will serve as a guide to all the stakeholders. Online platform, the PSSP is there, which all the stakeholders are profiled in that. In fact, it's a new dawn.
I am really very supportive of this complaint unit. As you rightly acknowledged, we have always been there. There is already an established relation between our 2 organizations, and I'm very happy if we can strengthen it even further.
Freight forwarders operating at Apapa and Tinkan Island Port have resumed operations after the temporary suspension of the Vehicle Identification Number (VIN) violation system by the Nigerian Customs Service. Recall that some weeks ago, the freight forwarders protested the introduction of a violation by the customs, claiming that the mechanism was detrimental to their businesses. The shipper went out to investigate the development at the port after the suspension of VIN violation.
Yes, they said as a suspension, they suspend the Ibalu by now. They just said for a 1 month before the thing will later continue. And the Ibalu they are giving to us now, sincerely speaking, the difference between the Ibalu and the Ibalu are no much difference. That vehicle that we pay 400 surface before, it is now correspond to 600. If you calculate that 600, it is about 800 and something total duty.
Peace has returned, but the return is even worse than what we expected. Because now we have gone back to the paper valuation and it's not getting any good for us. Whereby everything all value has been risen. Even the paper documentation this time around.
The way we will now be saying, let us reduce duty. Let duty go down. At the way the thing day before. You understand? Duty is very high. And there is nothing where they use this duty to benefit.
I would say it's a nice move from the federal government because this shows us that they are hearing from the masses, you understand? Yeah. Because we cry to the federal government that it's too high, that they should at least consider the masses, and they heard from us. We are still begging that even if they will do the VIN valuation, they should step it down in a way that it will favor the poor masses. This VIN valuation will make everything rise. So people out there cannot afford it.
The shipper will continue to monitor activities of the port and keep you posted. But remember that as a regulated service provider, you need to register with the Nigerian Shippers Council. Let's now check on our complaint register for the week. A total number of 7 complaints were received. 5 have been resolved and 2 are ongoing investigations. The complaints include illegal charges, goods on lane, debt recovery, and demurrage waiver. The council, after a tripartite meeting between NSC, GMT Shipping, and Ballas International, has successfully recovered a whopping sum of 611,000 naira from Mr. Iyedio of Ballas International Limited.
I came to Shipper Council to make a complaint of imported goods that are made from through GMT shipping line. So I think there was a problem internally within them. So the thing I made, there was a lot of demurrage accrued on the job. After many appearances to them to see what to do to help me resolve the demurrage issue, because I can no longer take care of the consignment in terms of finance. So I was looking for money to get the goods out of the port. So finally, after stressing myself to get the goods out, I came to see what they can do to assist me. They never done anything. So that was why I came to Shipper Council to make a complaint. I'm happy that they responded to my yearning. I will have to sing the good song. I will tell my other consignees, my fellow agents, in things like this, you need Shipper Council to give you results.
Shippers Council works hard to make shippers happy. Let me now apprise you of maritime activities in other parts of the world. Due to the ongoing crisis in Ukraine, the U.S. Classification Society, American Bureau of Shipping, ABS, has decided to withdraw all class services involving Russian vessels, assets, and companies. The decision follows the tragic event developing in Ukraine and a thorough evaluation of the evolving regulatory and sanctions environment and its applicability to ABS operations. U.S. offshore vessel owner Tidewater is acquiring one of the longest-standing names in Southeast Asian offshore as it bids to become one of the world's largest offshore support vessel OSV operators through consolidation. The $190 million deal will see Tidewater taking over Spar's fleet of 50 OSVs, which comprise 29 anchor handling tug supply vessels and 21 platform supply vessels. The U.S. company believes it can realize synergies of $45 million in 24 months through general and administrative and operating expenses. Tiania Network, the logistics arm of Alibaba, is to offer a 30 times weekly economy shipping option between Ningbo, China, and Bangkok, Thailand. The sea freight route will be for orders placed on the Tmall and Taobao e-commerce platforms with a delivery time of 15 days. The service, launched in conjunction with an existing trucking service to Thailand, will reduce shipping costs to $1.4 per kg from $2.6 per kg. That's a 46% reduction. Wow! Denmark-based Rich Ship Supply has acquired Panama ship chandler Centralarm, expanding its global reach. A ship chandler is a retail dealer who specializes in providing supplies or equipment needed by a ship and its crew. Central Panama is a leading ship chandler based at the Pacific side of the Panama Canal. With the acquisition, Rich expands its global reach and secure a foothold at one of the world's most important maritime crossroads, while at the same time enhancing Centralarm Panama's market position. And that's it on this week's Tidbits.
The Nigerian Shippers Council is now better poised with responsive systems in place to help you and other shippers get seamless, stress-free transition for your clients' goods from point A to B. Today at the Nigerian Shippers Council, timeliness, orderliness, transparency, and efficiency is all we care about. Put your complaint through to our helpline. Visit us at number 4 Ayodele Shoyode Lane, Apapa, Lagos, or reach us on www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the point of your need.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the port of your needs.
This is where the shipper births today. Do join us again next time as we keep our eyes trained on the sector for you. Until next time, goodbye.